Yo, folks, Tarek here with Roll Off Truck World. Man, Texas, hot summer, 12 o'clock, middle of the day, and I'm drinking a coffee. Call me a coffee addict, whatever you want, but I love some coffee. Let's talk about what I believe is the best bang for the buck. That's right, truck behind me right here is what I consider to be one of the best bang for the bucks. Means it's a heavy spec chassis, but it's priced just right. We're not gonna talk about pricing in this video. I give a price today, 2026. Somebody watches this video 3 years later and they're like, but you said it was this price. Brother, that was 3 years ago. You can't hold me accountable for that. So all you need to know is that if you want to find out pricing, these trucks are priced very, very well, and they are pretty much what I consider to be a little bit nicer interior, nicer gauge and cluster panel compared to like a Freightliner or an International, which can probably be had for maybe $5,000 to $8,000 less than a Peterbilt. But man, this is a best bang for the buck. Definitely our biggest seller, or one of our biggest sellers in the medium / heavy duty. And I say that lightly because this is a heavy duty truck. You got 20,000 pound front axles, you got 46,000 pound rear axles, and you have a double frame. So it's got all the qualities of a heavy spec truck, right? But you have a little bit of a smaller engine in here, which is more than capable. And we're gonna talk about whether this truck is for you or it's not for you. This truck is not for everybody, but it's for most, all right? This is pretty comparable to a Freightliner M2 or a Western Star 47X perhaps, or maybe the baby Mack Granite, you know, trucks in that class of 350, 380 horsepower with the Allison 3000, which we're gonna talk about what this has right here. This got the PACCAR PX-9 rated at 350 horsepower. Made it to that, we got the Allison 3000 RDS transmission. Folks, if you don't know the PACCAR PX-9, and don't just take my word for it, go to your dealer, take a look at the engine serial badge, the sticker on that thing, and a PACCAR PX-9 is basically a branded Cummins ISL9 engine. So yeah, that's right, the Cummins ISL9 and the PACCAR PX-9 are the same exact engines built in the same Cummins plant by Cummins, but they have a badge that says, and if you open the hood on this truck, you can take a look at the badge, you flip it, take a look at the badge, and it'll say PACCAR by Cummins, which means this is basically an ISL9 branded PACCAR. So that gives you proven reliability. Everybody loves that Cummins, okay? The one thing you don't get is the color red, but it's a gray engine, but it's really an ISL9. One thing about this truck is that you can see it behind me, it's equipped with a triaxle. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about some options that you can spec this truck out with. If you look over here, we got a round nose bumper here. We wanna talk about some options on this truck. This truck here has a 315 tires, although it can also come with 385 tires, and that gives it a much meaner look, but it also comes with a squared, kind of tapered bumper, which I prefer the look on that. It is a little bit more, but I'm gonna show you one we have behind here, and we're gonna walk to that. And folks, just so you know, we got a bunch of chassis here, just about every different brand: International, Mack Granite, Kenworth, Peterbilt 567s, 548s, Freightliners, whatever, you name it. So when I say this is the best bang for the buck, trust me, I'm not trying to sell you this truck. I'm trying to say what I believe is the best bang for the buck, what has become one of our biggest sellers because of its price point and its capabilities. But if you feel like you want something else, folks, we got all the bells and whistles here, many options that you can choose from. Come on over here and let me I want to show you guys what this truck would look like. And this is not a built unit, not yet at least, but it can be built for you if that's what you're wanting. Same truck, same everything, nicer looking bumper in my opinion. Some people actually prefer the rounded bumper. This is more of an aggressive look in my opinion. You do have some 425 tires here, which if you can tell, this thing looks much more beefier than that other truck simply because of the tires and the meaner, aggressive look. That's a personal opinion. But again, if you want a truck like that, but you want it with this bumper, just go ahead and let us know. 425 tires or 385 tires definitely give her a much more aggressive and meaner look. Other than that, this is the same exact truck. 20 fronts, 46 rears, 350 horsepower, same engine, Allison 3000. We're gonna give this truck a little walk around and talk about this tri-axle as well. Before we give the walk around, let's talk about this tri-axle. We got a 13,000 pound pusher axle on this truck. A lot of folks think that in order to add a third axle, you need to have massive horsepower like 450, 500, or 550. You need to have a big transmission and whatnot. With all due respect, this is true in some states. Geography matters. Where you live matters. Where your company's located matters. We got a lot of folks that are hauling heavy weight with this third axle, and they're hauling heavy in Texas or in places like Oklahoma or in Louisiana and stuff like that, where you don't have a lot of hills, where you don't have a lot of density altitude. And remember, folks, density altitude is the altitude of the terrain and there's a lot of different applications. I'm a pilot, so I actually know about density altitude and what all that implies. But basically, density altitude is the altitude of the terrain plus the humidity and the weather and the heat and the summer and etc. In the plane, that matters. In the truck, it matters as well. This truck will not perform the same climbing steep hills in Colorado at a density altitude of 8,000 feet with an elevation of, say, 3,000 feet. Your engine needs more oxygen to breathe. And I know we're getting kind of scientific here, but compare that to Texas. We got an elevation right here where we're at of 122 feet on a very Texas hot summer day of 98 degrees and a lot of humidity. Density altitude will be about 2,200 feet. Remember, that's 100 feet of ground of actual elevation above sea level, plus the heat and all that stuff. This truck will perform just fine here with a 350 horsepower, loaded all the way with a tri-axle down. But if you are climbing heavy hills, steep hills, plus elevation, plus a hot day, plus a density altitude that is significantly over, then this truck may not be for you. Not with a third axle. It does not mean that you can't go and take this truck and go run it in Colorado and all that stuff as a tandem axle, right? But as a tri-axle, if you want to haul those heavy loads, let's just say that your truck is not going to perform as good as a 450 or a 500 horsepower mated to a bigger transmission. The same applies regardless of density, altitude, elevation, and all that. It's a no-brainer. Obviously, a truck with bigger horsepower, with a bigger transmission, is gonna feel better than a truck with 350 horsepower, even with a third axle, even if it's flat land. That's common sense. Obviously, numbers don't lie, horsepowers don't lie, but for what it's worth in flat land, I have a lot of customers in Texas and in Louisiana, Oklahoma, flat land, hauling heavy with something like this, and they tell me it does just fine. Vice versa, I have not sold to other states because I point my customers in the right direction, but I have had customers that tell me, hey, I need a bigger truck, I want more horsepower. The truck I currently have is really, you know, once I'm loaded 15, 18 tons in there, it struggles, you know. And this truck here, it'll do just fine down the freeway. Don't expect to be doing 85 miles an hour with 20 tons on your back. Not gonna happen. You're gonna stress the truck out. You're gonna be pretty much at max RPMs. Not good for the engine, not good for a lot of things, not good on your chassis, okay? But if you're heavily loaded and you're doing 60, 65, 70, this truck is plenty capable. It's not the fastest, it's not gonna be the quickest out the jump on first gear, right? But it'll be more than capable. Plenty of weight it can handle, especially in terrain levels that are meant for it. Titan XOR roll-off. Titan roll-off system, XOR-60-22, and all that is, folks, it's a 60,000 pound standard rail hoist, outside lift cylinders, American Tarp Raptor X model. This is a steel heavy-duty, fully hydraulic tarp system, Folks, you know I'm biased about this because this is our sister company. So is our Titan roll-offs, but this truly is one of the heaviest duty and most versatile and literally a rigid design that we have been manufacturing for over 6 years now. It's heavy duty, does not compare to any of these aluminum flimsy tarps out there, and I say that with full confidence. As for our Titan roll-off system, I'm not gonna say it's the best. Time will tell on that, but it's a sturdy design, a standard design, and really it's a heavy duty proven design over the years in the life of the roll-off since it was born. Folks, let's talk about this build real quick. Get over here and let me show you guys how this build is configured. You got a standard outside 5-spool valve control for your hoist and your tarper. Included on all of our builds is a broom holder and a shovel holder, and you do have one more there for whatever you want to put in there, a rake maybe. Hydraulic pressure gauge now comes standard on all of our builds. Why this is important, I keep seeing trucks out there that don't have this hydraulic pressure gauge. This whole system runs off of hydraulics, yet nobody out there is given a hydraulic pressure gauge. I think it's safe, smart, and a great idea for everybody to start doing this. Folks, even my dealers, friends that are watching this, throw in a hydraulic pressure gauge out there. We're relying on hydraulic systems here. And we want to make sure that we're always keeping in check of our hydraulic pressure, all right? A lot of people always call us, hey, my hoist is slow. Hey, my hoist is acting up a little weird. Well, what's your hydraulic pressure, sir? I don't know. Well, check your gauge, you know? Throw in that hydraulic pressure gauges. We're definitely doing it nowadays. It's important for you to know your operating pressures on your hoist, the peaks of your pressures and all of that stuff. Most hoists run at 2,400, 2,500, different models like I know American Roll-Off with the ART models runs at a higher pressure because it's a piston pump versus a gear pump. So it's a little bit of a higher PSI that they run. But folks, just make sure that you know your operating pressures. Read your owner's manual of whatever hoist you have and make sure that your operating pressure is always in check. If you start losing some lifting capacity, your cable is not winching how it should, or it doesn't want to pick up more than 10 tons, and it did it last time, but now it doesn't want to do it. Instead of guessing all the time and starting to check stuff around, all you got to do is check your pressure gauge. If you're running at 1,000 PSI, there's your answer. If you're running at 3,500 PSI and you blew a hose, there's your answer. So make sure you're always, with us, you're now going to see this in every truck that we sell, hook lift, roll-off, vacuum truck, whatever, important. Very smart idea for folks to start doing that. Take a look at standard as well on all of our trucks. Make sure you keep that cab nice and clean. You paid a lot of money for this truck. You better take care of it. Folks, this design here incorporates a hydraulic steel tank that is mounted behind the cab. That way you have all the room and space that you need. As you can see, standard on all our builds, we have a steel mesh cover guard there. That's gonna keep you safe from the elements of the cable. If it ever comes to snap, we know that's a hazard. You got 2 standard LED work lights. And we're not going to talk too much in detail about these container stoppers or why they're here, but I am going to show you what they do. This customer is actually hauling 18 and 16-foot dumpsters, so we do have another video on our channel explaining how these work and whatnot, but all you need to know is that these are flip-ups, and you basically throw them in the toolbox when you don't need them, or slide them in here into these build slots that we do for any of our customers. So if you're looking at running different size dumpsters, 12, 14, 16, 18, 10-footers, little concrete boxes or whatever you want, just let us know where you want this, and that's about it. We also offer this in a foldable configuration, which are hinged. They're much nicer to use, but they're not as versatile because they're welded in place. So this here gives you the versatility of having to do it at 18, 16, 14. All you have to do is do the slots, and there it goes. When you don't need it, throw it in the toolbox, run your 22-foot can like anything, like nothing was there. Folks, 13K tri-axle over here. This is a pusher axle. That means it lifts up and down. American Tarp Raptor X system. One of the toughest, if not the toughest, and I don't want to get ahead of myself or overjump myself or talk more than what I should, but this is the toughest tarp system in the market. If you haven't seen our torture test, it's in our video channel as well. If you wiggle a tarp system like this, you'll find that your whole base, your whole gantry, your whole everything is gonna wiggle and jiggle. Not even, and that's for any steel tarp system. Call it the Pioneer, call it the O'Brien, call it whatever you want. This is the strongest one out there, folks. And that's not me trying to sell you this tarp system. That's me being pure, plain honest, because we've installed them all. Aluminum tarps, we're not even gonna compare them to steel. I don't think they have a place in that argument. And it wouldn't be fair to compare steel versus aluminum. It's just unfair. Folks, heavy duty tarp system, very, very sturdy. We'll kick it. Just everybody wants to see me kick the tarp system. Now, hey, I saw you kicking that tarp. We're gonna kick it, baby. We're gonna kick the tarp system. I'm unfit right now, so I don't want to get tired, but you cannot do this to any tarp system. And the whole thing is gonna wiggle, jiggle, and maybe even break it. So, folks, heavy duty tarp system, part of our design is all of this is bolted into the subframe. So whenever you step on this, and we're gonna finish the video with me jumping on this tarp system base, so you know what exactly is going on. Steel fenders all around for this thing right here. Steel fenders, tie down bar location, a very convenient location. We find this to be one of the best places to place it. You got adjustable tie down straps. We know it, not all dumpsters align with the channels, and this is a must in our opinion. This bumper goes up and down. This is a pintle hitch ready apron as well. Full rollers that are caged. Come on and take a look at these rollers. Full rollers that are caged and reinforced. You got your extra wing gusset plates, which help for container alignment, but also helps for the weight. Most of the initial weight is concentrated here, especially when you're picking up a heavy load. These things aid not only in aligning your container, but also in sturdiness and more beefiness for your hoist. Full rolling tailboard, that's pretty much standard nowadays in the industry, but full rolling, greasable tail rollers, LED lights all around. This is, again, a standard 22-foot rail hoist, and truck, obviously, aluminum wheels all around. You got a standard steel toolbox. Folks, let me show you the interior on this truck. I want to show you the interior because you want to take a look at the cluster gauge on this truck, the nice interior that it has, and how it can differ and what you're getting bang for the buck versus going with a little bit cheaper option like a Freightliner or an International for a little bit more money. And I'm talking a little bit more money. And I've actually had this truck priced as a chassis cheaper than I've had a Freightliner M2 and an International. So for what it's worth, this truck is worth it in my opinion. Let me show you the interior. Alrighty, folks, we're back in this interior. I wanted you to show them these nice leather seats that you've got here. Definitely nicer than what you would get on a little bit of a cheaper truck with the same specs. Alrighty, take a look at this nice looking panel right here. Cluster gauges. Nice cluster gauges, very informative, and they have many options. This is our control tower for the Titan roll-off system. PTO light, work light, bed up light, body up light, PTO light on. A lot of the safety features that you should expect. Got a lot of good compartments up here and over here as well. And of course, you got your CB radio mount if you're still using those these days. And Allison control shifts right there. Bluetooth, steering wheel controls, cruise control. Pretty nice package, folks. And folks, if you're looking for a truck like this, if you have any questions about the 548 model, its capabilities, whether the truck is or isn't for you, this truck, surprisingly, has become a very, very big popular seller on our end. And that's because of the price point, its capabilities, and what it can do. Again, we talked about who this is for and who this might not be for. If you still have some questions about that, we're going to go ahead and address them via the phone. You may give us a call at 281-864-0891. Additionally, you can visit our website for trucks like this. If we don't have something in stock, we got many more options to build. We try to keep up with the work and have them in stock, but it can't always happen. So give us a call. Visit our website, www.rolofftruckworld.com. Before we end this video, we're going to climb on this truck and we're going to jump on this tarp system, because I want to make sure that you guys are knowing exactly what goes into this tarp system and how it stands out. For the hoist, I can't do much of a torture test because I can't break it like that, but this hoist is a strong, heavy-duty, beefy hoist. It's really an industry-proven design that has been in the market for many, many years. The design, the hoist is a Titan roll-off hoist. We build it with pride here, and it's a pretty rigid design, and it's standard, industry standard stuff. So minor little details that are different here and there, like beefier rear hinges, beefier saddle plates on your apron for your saddle that is bolted onto the chassis, and beefier pins all around for your saddle pins and for your rear hinges. But other than that, there's not much changes that you can do to a roll-off system. The design is proven, no need to reinvent the wheel. And just like we talked about it, what's due is promised, and it's due, folks. We don't just talk about it, we actually put our money where it is, folks. Is that how that says? I don't know if I said that right, but anyways, you're gonna see the chassis move, not the tarp system. And this is the bracket support that is bolted onto the subframe. And this whole tarp system on a traditional design, if you jump on it, you're gonna bend an arm or you're gonna break something, all right? So don't do it to any other tarp system other than an American tarp system. Torture test, this is not a full torture test. I can't beat on this truck too much because it's gonna be sold, but I'm gonna jump on this, and I'm heavy, so I'm definitely chubbier than what I need to be right now, and unfit too, so I'll get tired. I don't know if you can get the whole chassis moving, if you can see the chassis and the actual subframe moving versus the tarp system. This tarp system is not even jiggling, folks. And that, we can walk all over this base. Most people can't even do that. I don't have a lot of stability, but we can walk all over this place. Heavy duty tarp system, didn't even wiggle, folks. Anyways, you know where to call us, you know where to see us. Like, subscribe if you want to see more videos of trucks and garbage trucks and etc. Thanks for watching.